10/4, Friday. Maybe I can try adding to this journal throughout the day when I remember. Might give a chaotic effect, might make it more real. I am for sure getting sick. My throat is just an inflamed balloon of pain, and I have some lidocaine from a previous illness. But I accidentally drank way too much, and now I'm feeling woozy as fuck. Paul and I leave for the beach this weekend, so it figures I'm sick now. In my anxious little head, it is black mold spores rooted in my throat. I cleaned a lot of gross, smelly mold and algae the color black from the plaster traps at work this week. I only thought to wear a mask on the second one. Gloves? Yes. Hand washing? Yes. Antibacterial spray and eyeglasses for splashing? Yes. But not a face mask. How do I pronounce the embarrassed emoji? That's kind of backwards. Emojis are to convey tone over text without a voice. Whoops. If I ever write a book, I'm using the millennial amount of emojis with the Gen Z overuse to make it ironic. Editing Julia would like to point out it's also ironic that I seriously consider writing a book a couple weeks after this entry. I want to sing to my happy tweeting Verdi, but my throat hurts so much. For anyone wondering, I have 3 pets: Schuyler, the cat, Nugget, the cockatiel, and Verdi, the snake. Toenail is my fake name for my coworker, and Paul is my husband. I'm waiting for the wooziness to pass so I can record my video. It's gonna hurt. I'm not writing these journals and reading and publishing them so that I can learn and grow as a person, but I do think that's happening. I am painfully self-aware, but there's something about writing it all out and reading it a week later to show a new perspective on things. I see my patterns more. I see what affected me from one day to the next. I almost don't want to grow because I fear losing my relatability if I'm too mentally stable. That's an unhealthy thought. When I read back the week, the good things instinctively feel so long ago, and the sad things are crazy to me that they were a whole week ago. Sad things feel closer to me than joy. I've been learning a little bit here and there about the differences between a depressed brain and a non-depressed one, and multiple areas of brain study basically theorize and prove that depressed brains give more weight to negative things than non-depressed ones. They internalize those things as more important, basically. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. I want joy. I want to override my natural mind and feel basically happy most of the time. Viva la resistance. Oh, I also enjoy making my thumbnails from pictures that I took that week. But I'll need to remember to take more pictures with me in it, and not just when I'm topless in bed with my cat, because obviously those are not thumbnail material. Things to think about. Back to editing. While I was posting the video, I saw a comment on my last video about making more ex-Mormon related content. I'll have to think about it some. I'm not trying to identify myself as the anti to any establishment. In my opinion, that's letting it run my life as much as being in it. But I've got a lot of experiences to share about my journey. Maybe I make that its own script? Not sure. Have to think about it. Alright, so now it's finally Friday night, and by tradition, I'm drunk. I really only became a regular drinker after I quit weed. I only drink when I feel the need to be stoned really bad, like on Fridays. We made it to the Astoria area and are spending the night at Paul's grandpa's place. Very ocean-themed. I particularly love the lighthouse pattern chairs, and the child kleptomaniac in me wants to steal some of the neater decorative shells. I won't, but I've always had enough relatives with enough old stuff that a little voice in my head justifies that they won't know the difference. Just a confessional, Aunt Laura, I stole some old rings back in 2011, and I still feel guilty about it. The rest of the night was watching Beetlejuice with Paul, and we had a good drive over here. That's all for tonight. Louise out. 10/5, Saturday. Today was just stellar. Paul and I spent the day in Seaside and had the sunniest weather. My day started with watching the birds through binoculars from the house, and then we went to a brunch place and stuffed ourselves. On the way there, we saw a big old group of pelicans. There were hundreds of them, just sitting in the water together. Then we went to the beach and I soaked up some much needed sunshine. When we were both ready to play in the water, we got a skimboard and Paul taught me how it worked. I quickly decided sliding on the board was terrifying and I preferred to watch. He had a couple really good slides. I got lots of photos of the pretty water and cool sand patterns and sleeping seagulls. We both loved watching the dogs and the little kids just play with abandon. Then some more sun soaking, and when the wind picked up, we hit the little shopping strip. Starting with a saltwater taffy shop, we weaved through some gift shops and got some pretzel bites and just had fun browsing. We ended our stroll at the aquarium, and I loved the octopus that they had, but the best part was feeding the seals. All the seals do different things to get your attention, so you'll throw the fish to them, like slapping their bellies or splashing you vigorously. After some beach swinging and sunset viewing, we went to a surf and turf restaurant and watched a guy play the most impressive game of casual pool we'd ever seen. The food was decadent, and we ended at the gelato shop and brought our treats home, where we ate them and watched The Quiet Place prequel. A truly delightful day of sunshine and play. Tomorrow, we visit Astoria and then head home. I fly out to my family on Monday, and I'm nervous for the week of hard work, but excited as well. The last vacation I did was also right before a hard week of physical labor. I have it backwards, it seems. Also, horror movies where the cat lives are the best horror movies. I hope tomorrow is even half of what today was, because that's plenty. No PBJs, but I did try a PBJ saltwater taffy. Not my favorite. Louise out. 10/6, Sunday. A fun day, but a sleepy one. We got the best biscuits and gravy at a local cafe, and then saw the Maritime Museum in Astoria, and then browsed some shops downtown before heading back home. I loved all of it, but I've been like half asleep all day, even though I slept till 10:30. I can't figure out what amount of sleep I need. It's way too much. Tired, always. The cafe had excellent donuts too, and the museum had some thought-provoking things that I'll try to write more about tomorrow. I got the cutest hand-knit lighthouse sweater from a vintage clothing shop. I've decided, ironically, that I don't need to take naps so much. I want to make stuff. I feel like if I don't want to oil paint, I'll pretty much just nap. But I can do other craft things as well. We saw an art gallery that inspired me to do so much more with my free time. I'm IUD free and my antidepressants are finally working how I want, so I can quit it with the whole nap thing every day, right? Yeah, hopefully. No PBJs, just biscuits and donuts and pizza and bread bites. Super healthy today. Tomorrow is all airport time. Louise out. 10/7, Monday. I had all these schemes and machinations of writing out my thoughts on life, the universe, salmon canning, and everything while sitting in the airport today. But instead, I played a dumb little app and watched a movie. Today was a travel day. An hour to the airport, a 2-hour flight, a 4-hour layover, a 3-hour flight, and then a 2-hour drive, and I'm here, my family's new home. I'm excited for a few days of hard helping here, but I definitely can't write much tonight. I have a feeling my journal entries may be on the short side this week, unless something goes terribly wrong. This house is making strange noises, and it smells like strangers. I immediately love it, but it's not familiar yet. Like my mom said, you've got to live in a place a while before you know its character enough to, say, pick a paint color. That's all for tonight. Louise out. 10/9, Wednesday. I knew I'd be bad at journaling. I'm just too busy. Yesterday and today, I've been working on demolition. We're taking out the wet bar, and that involves removing a sink and capping the pipes, something I learned on this project. Then cutting the electrical and capping the wires and removing countertops, cabinets, and wall. Then I learned how to patch large holes in drywall and how to mud and paper tape, and I salvaged the metal corner guard and fitted onto the new corner. All of that would take about 2 days, right? Well, that's about a third of the demolition I've done. I also removed all the built-in shelves from the pantry and 2 closets, 14 shelves total. and I'm so tired I just used my calculator to add 8 and 6. For each shelf, I used caulk softener, a removing tool that really takes a lot of strength to remove the caulk still, then a hammer to get the shelf out, then a pry bar and some pliers to remove the mounted holding pieces and their many nails. It's a full body effort, and I just got drenched in sweat all day, both days, and covered in dust from cutting sheetrock. I've dinged my hands up pretty good, a few more painful than others. Tomorrow, I'm getting up early to try to tackle the painting. I patched everything today, so tomorrow starts with sanding and texturing, then other prep things like moving things out of the way and taking off outlets. I'm covering up red paint in the basement, so I need to start my painting with the primer there. I've got the basement living space, the basement bathroom, the 2 closets, and the pantry to paint. The pantry and master closet are massive, plus I'm painting the built-in cubby, so it will be a long day. But I want to be helpful, and I really want to help my family transform the place so it feels more like home for them. It's 2:37, and I'm getting up at 8, so I gotta go. But I'll update you tomorrow to see how much of my ambitious day that I could do. 10/10, Thursday. Big day. I didn't get all the painting done, but I got a lot of it and some other stuff. I slept until 10:30 despite my 20 alarms. Then it took me until 3 to finish the prep work, removing outlets, taking some areas and sanding it down, then retexturing it, then sanding the texture down, then priming all of that so it's not visible through the sheen of the paint. Cleaning up the basement was a task, and I pretty much just shuffled everything to different walls, then swept. Demolition creates a lot of trash. Trash gets heavy in bulk. It will be a chore to get all the long strips of wood upstairs eventually. But after that, I cleaned and primed the bathroom. The goal is to make the red walls beige. Not my color choice, and I was using a gray primer. This Sherwin-Williams all-purpose primer is the worst paint I've ever touched. It was like salad dressing. It separated oddly and was ridiculously runny. New paint, fully mixed, just a terrible formula. The other can was the exact same, so I know it wasn't a fluke. It worked, but it took a lot of time, and the red paint shows through a lot. I was genuinely horrified and appalled at this paint quality. When I was on a paint crew, it seemed to be a trade opinion that Sherwin-Williams paint in general has gone all the way down the hill. They've been changing their formulas, presumably to make it cheaper, and none of their new stuff even comes close to what they used to put out. And it's overpriced as fuck. Save your money, don't go there. My current favorite paint type is bare one-coat coverage, but most paint is totally fine. This just stood out as shockingly bad. My grandpa-in-law has also had a bunch of bad experiences with their formula changes, but I'll move on. After the basement priming, I slapped some white on the 2 closets in the pantry and called it a day for the painting. With my remaining 2 hours of work time, till midnight, I had a blast demolishing a massive old shelf in the storage room, took down some closet organizing systems, and then remudded over areas that I wasn't quite happy with. Tomorrow, my dad and I get a moving truck and empty out 2 storage units into the house. Big day, and I'm ready for it. I keep nicking my hands, but so far the most painful thing was when I got a fat drop of paint right in the eyeball. I washed it out well, but that involved a lot of pain and panic. While doing all this, I listened to a bunch of Mac Miller and Kendrick Lamar, both inspiring rappers in their own right. I love Mac Miller, and I'm not trying to compare or diminish, but it's hard to play next to Kendrick. Talk about inspiration, jeez! I particularly love how he shares his vulnerability and trauma and tries to share the healing too. I'm trying to share my own story in a way that might help people face their own demons, but Kendrick is just on another level with his words. He's so self-aware and so industrious. Goals, honestly. Well, that's all for tonight. I'm calling it. It's been a while since I've had a PBJ. Louise out. 10/11, Friday. Today was a brutal one. My dad and I filled a 26-foot truck and then unloaded it with my sister's help. We left the house at 9 a.m. and finished unloading at 8 p.m. Then took a break till 9 and then moved demolition scrap from the basement for another hour. Let me list some of the bad things. The truck hit a curb and got a flat tire on its way into the storage unit. I got pinned by a freezer on the loading ramp. My dad got pinned by a dresser on the same spot on the ramp. The ramp was just too steep and slippery at the top. My legs gave out on me moving food storage into the truck just over halfway into loading. I'm on my period, and my cramps were killer with all the core workout. When we got home, my mom said something that really hurt me, so I said something mean back, and then we both cried in separate rooms. The wood from the shelf that I demolished yesterday was in the way of unloading the truck, so after, we had to move all of that. I demolished it to be helpful, but it was a lot more work than needed to be done. I got a bloody nose from exertion. For an hour after I woke up, I felt drunk with sleep exhaustion. Even driving felt unsafe. But with every cloud, there's a silver lining. And even though it was a totally brutal day, there was a lot of good too. Here's some of the good. I'm proud of the hard work I did. I made an effort to take heavier things so my dad could take lighter things. In that spirit, I took the stair portion of the scrap wood bucket brigade, and even though I climbed the stairs like 40 times at the end of the day, I was capable of doing it and even had some energy left. Food tasted great. My sister worked really hard, and I'm proud of her. My dad worked so hard, and I'm a little scared for him pushing himself that hard, but also proud that we accomplished so much. I finished the demolition clearing on my own, and now that project is totally cleaned up. After some crying, I talked with my mom and had some really good communication, and I was quickly able to return to compassion towards her. I'm here to ease her burdens, and I'm glad we had the talk we did. Even though there were some accidents, no one got any injury worse than a bruise. The flat tire incident barely slowed us down at all, and my dad got the insurance, so it was as ideal as a flat tire can be. Rest feels so good. I learned that my little cat is sleeping on my husband's pillow while I'm away, and that adorableness is a day brightened for sure. Above all, I'm glad that my mood stayed positive. I'm working hard on that and finally seeing progress. I'm very proud of myself and grateful for my life-improving husband. Tomorrow I finish painting, do whatever else I can in a few hours, then get a steak dinner and head towards the airport for a very early flight. I'm ready to go home after tomorrow, but I'm not ready to return to work. Oh well. I'll check in tomorrow. Louie's out. Oh wait, and also I saw like 70 geese in the park. Okay, bye. 10/12, Saturday. I am supposed to be painting the bathroom right now. I'm kinda painting, but mostly waiting for the people to be gone. Now I'm typing because I've got too much in my head. So, if you didn't know, my family is Mormon, and I'm the only non-Mormon in the bunch. And I'm visibly not Mormon. Tattoos, piercings, tank tops, purple hair, the word fuck always at the ready just behind my lips, no burning sense of personal shame behind my eyes. But since my parents are Mormon, they get access to the best part of being religious: instant community. They've lived in this house a few days, and they have a group of people that showed up to help just because they asked once. About 4 adult men, 1 woman, 5 or 6 young adult guys, and 2 or 3 young women. I had to do some paint prep in the main room downstairs, and that's where I was when they started filing in with my family's furniture. They never said hi to me. I never said hi to them. I wanted to be helpful, but every time I tried to answer their questions, they didn't look my way. Probably I talked too quietly. I set up a fan for them at least, but every time I was walking, they gave me a 3 to 6 foot berth and no one made eye contact with me. The kids watched me from the storage room like I was a zoo animal. I smiled and they stared. So I went and locked myself in the bathroom to paint and to hide. And here I am, totally getting like so much painting done, and eavesdropping and winning every argument in my head. Why aren't you helping? Well, I helped all week. Where were you guys? Why are you not Mormon? Well, you see, I graduated from BYU, bet you can't say that. I bet you're deeply unhappy with your life. Well, I bet I'm happier than you. Dumb. pointless, non-existent arguments. And one that I'm thinking is only in my head, but also really might be in some of theirs, is my immodesty, my bare shoulders, my cleavage. The missionaries probably don't appreciate being exposed to the sinful temptation of bare, feminine skin when they came to help a safe Mormon family household. The mom certainly didn't like me. I saw daggers. Maybe I'm inventing it. Maybe I'm hostile on the outside too. Maybe it's all my own perception. But I also know what my perception of non-Mormons was when I was Mormon, and that's where I got the building blocks to invent this stuff. I found my sister hiding in the closet because there were just too many people and she was exhausted too. I wanted to ask her why she's still Mormon. Hear it from her, you know? But I didn't have the courage, so we talked about sore muscles instead. Now I'm back in the bathroom, but I grabbed my phone in the journey, so at least I can write it all down and let go. Back to painting and blasting Chapel Roan in my AirPods. Oh, that was the other conversation I played in my head. Hi, sir. Sorry, the missionaries had to leave. Someone was singing profanities in the bathroom. Cut to me softly saying, "Knee deep in the passenger seat and you're eating me out." And within minutes of putting my music on, I heard Kendrick repeat, "You can't please everybody, you can't please everybody," and then, "I choose me, I'm sorry, I choose me, I'm sorry." Life irony. 10/13, Sunday. Yesterday, I did finish painting, but I was dragging the whole day. I just couldn't get a pep in my step. I was too drained. We got Texas Roadhouse for dinner, and they ruined the steaks a bit, but it was nostalgic being there with my family, so I still loved it. Then, my mom and I drove to Omaha and crashed at the hotel for a few hours, until just a few minutes ago she dropped me off at the airport. Today, I'm flying home, crashing, and then mentally preparing for work tomorrow. I'm nervous that Toenail will hate the reorganizing I've done simply because he hates change. I'm so tired, it's a very passive anxiety. Probably just gonna watch movies till I'm home. Louise out. Louise in again. I get ideas for stories I'll never write all the time. Some ideas make me sad that I won't write them because they're worthy of life. But I've got nothing to do with a written story, so I stopped making them. Anyway, this idea is a short and sweet one. On the plane, the clouds look like an ocean, and the mountains that peak above the clouds are like tiny islands. So you could have cloud people, made up of a material that is just slightly lighter than a cloud. And they have to be nomads, because the clouds move and change. So to keep from falling, they move from island to island. And in this world, there could be boats. And in this world, there is a potential for a crossover with mountain climbers meeting the cloud people. Perhaps a tragic love where one makes pictures in the clouds for the other and the other climbs every mountain peak for the one. Kinda cute. Thought I'd give it this much life at least. When I got home, Paul really showed up for me. He cleaned, did the dishes, kept the fruit flies gone, got me lilies, made me dinner, and put away my cleaning projects for me. He is an amazing husband, and I'm lucky to have him. Louise out.